What's going on, guys? It's Tyler here. Now, during the last couple months, me and my girlfriend have been watching a ton of TV like I'm sure everyone else has been doing when they're stuck in the house. And we decided, well, I didn't decide, she decided to rewatch all 15 seasons, you heard that right, of Criminal Minds. She's already seen them, rewatch, and she's currently like halfway through season 13. I think she's kind of hit a wall. I don't know if she's finishing. Regardless, I've calculated that as of now, she's probably watched around about 300 episodes of Criminal Minds. Now, I probably watched like 20 to 30 episodes of those with her, and there's one that stuck out to me. Now, this show, let me just tell you, this show is completely insane. So get your FBI vest on, have your notepad ready to take some notes, and most importantly, have a towel on hand for the Shemar Moore scenes, because boy, is he a real heartthrob. So the episode starts out with a personal trainer and some guy named Terry jogging in the middle of the woods, which, by the way, I don't think I've ever heard of a personal trainer taking some guy out, like in the middle of nowhere to train him. Usually it goes on in a gym or maybe at the person's house, or it's just kind of weird. Like, not usually how personal training works in my experience. Not that I've ever been personally trained, but that's neither here nor there.
Hey.
Kind of gives you like a fake jump scare to start out with. So Terry's like, I'm over this for the day.
Got it.
Terry gets sick and is driving home when he pulls over because he's feeling not so great. Looks like he's feeling a little tired, but also got some stomach issues. He kind of crawls out of his car and throws up on the ground. We have Garcia, who is like the computer wizard, like the glue that keeps the team together. I got my own opinions on her, by the way, but Garcia is briefing the group on these 4 men that have went missing. And they go by the names of
Gary Ellard, Barry Deaver, Paul Hicks, Terry Rogers.
Mary, quite contrary. Why do 3 of the 4 names end with a re? I don't understand that. Name someone like Bob or something, please. Briefing the group on these 4 men that have went missing in the small town of LeGrand or LeGrand, depending on how the multiple pronunciations go in the episode.
A month and a half, these 4 men have gotten in their cars in LeGrand, Oregon.
All married with young families.
Another difference. The first 3 victims were all born and raised in LeGrand.
And Shemar Moore is on screen. Now, I think Shemar Moore is the only guy that I have knowledge of that both my girlfriend and my mom want. Kind of gross, but I think it's true, so we'll just leave it at that. We get a little fast forward here. The person that we don't know of yet has these 4 guys chained up on her farm in her barn. And we're not quite sure what's going on yet, but this show has already taken a turn, in my opinion, because I didn't know it was going to get this dark. It's kind of funny, like whenever watching this show, there's like a couple things that happen every episode. For starters, this woman, Garcia, behind the computer, she's a genius. She knows literally everything about everything. Like, they ask her the most ridiculous questions ever. But one of the episodes I watched with my girlfriend, some kid went missing, and they thought maybe the bad guy was talking to the little kid on, like, Xbox, and that's how he was able to, like, lure him out of the house and, like, kidnap him. That ended up not being the case, but she was somehow in her database able to look up because they're like, find friends list of the kid on his Xbox. I don't know if they mentioned Xbox, but they made it seem like it was a game console.
They describe Andy as a bright, well-behaved kid who likes video games.
Andy and Frankie are about the same age and build with similar coloring. If this is the same unsub, he definitely has a type.
You need to consider the possibility that Andy may have been targeted by a pedophile.
Yeah, it could be someone he met online playing video games.
Just in case, I am pulling up a list of online players as we speak.
Hey, Garcia, perfect timing.
I have a list of online players that Andy Tafford played video games with. It's a short list since his parents strictly controlled his internet access and only allowed approved play with certain players.
We got the totally not generic social gaming room where everybody's known by their real name, or is that a gamer tag underneath? I can't really tell. Share with friends. Suggestions? Question mark? Are they telling us to share suggestions with our friends? I don't really know. Newest apps. Download now. The newest apps. Download them. It doesn't tell you what they are, but just download them anyways.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with here. Garcia is like this almost god figure that she just like knows all and can tell everybody everything that they need to know for the most part. So anyways, nothing's different here. She's being asked a bunch of questions by the group on the plane while they're flying en route to go check out what's going on. Meanwhile, Garcia stays at home or in the home base, and she just pretty much pulls up like all kinds of different stuff.
Do we know where from, Garcia?
Rhode Island, though there's a 5-month gap between Terry being in Rhode Island and then arriving in Oregon. Where he was and what he was doing is a big fat blank.
Says here that vomit was found in the vicinity of his abduction.
Thank you for reminding me of that disgusting detail, Dreamy D. Yes, that vomit has been collected and is being analyzed as we speak, and I'm very grateful that I have this job and someone has that one that's not me.
Garcia refers to Shamar Moore here as Dreamy D. Now, she calls him all kinds of different things. There's even one point in this episode where like the cop that's working with him is like visibly uncomfortable by it.
Hey, you talking to the room, PG?
If by PG you mean parental guidance strongly advised, I say PA, prudent advice. Okay, here's what's happened.
The group agrees to split up. You know, you two go here, you two go here. We're going to go here, try to figure out what's going on. Hotch meets the cop, and the cop always is like confused or uncomfortable, it seems, at all times. If you zoom in on the toxicology report here, or whatever it is, the examination of the vomit, you see that dopamine is actually misspelled in this episode. It's misspelled with dope mine. Like dope mine. Oh, dope mine. Oh, I want my dope. Oh, oh, oh. It's like a drugged out caveman.
Elevated. His melatonin levels are off the chart.
Is that significant?
So we find out that Terry had elevated levels of melatonin in his system, which, by the way, like, why would you sedate somebody with melatonin, of all things? Sometimes melatonin doesn't even work on me. I'll take a couple, like, melatonin pills or whatever if I can't sleep, and it didn't do anything. So it seems very, like, it seems like a terrible thing to use to sedate somebody with, and they actually, I think, mentioned that in this episode. It's like, why wouldn't you just use drugs? New challenge for YouTube videos. I'm going to see if I can record the rest of this video while eating melatonin gummies. Will I stay awake? We'll find out. So then we head back to the barn where we see this person injecting like this bucket of slop. Duct tape. You got a syringe connected to a hose going up the victim's nose, and it's duct taped to their nose, and she's just injecting like this brownish gray slop into their nose. It's pretty gross. It seems to me like it would be like food of some sort, like she's trying to at least keep something in their stomach, so she's like force feeding them through their nose down to their throat, which is pretty gross. So Terry's body is recovered from a river, and they make a weird comment that other than the fact that there's marks on the wrists and ankles, there's no signs of torture. I guess if you don't find like whipping marks on them or like blood on them, or I guess maybe that makes sense, but that makes them come to the conclusion that it's a woman because she was more caring when she was torturing, because she wasn't really hurting him.
And ankles. There's no signs of violence or torture.
A lot of care was taken with the killing and disposing of the body.
Sedation and drowning.
We may have to dramatically reassess who the unsub is.
What do you mean?
We might be looking for a woman.
And the perpetually confused police officer strikes again with like her fourth confused face in like 10 minutes. I don't really get that. I mean, it's kind of weird to just assume, oh, we're looking for a woman here because the person isn't a total animal. It's like, okay, I guess all guys are way more violent at torturing. I don't know. Kind of a weird conclusion to jump to. That's one thing with this show is they jump to a lot of conclusions that I'm like, that's the conclusion you came to? Like, with very little evidence, you just knew that? But I guess they're professional FBI, whatever, so because they said, oh, it must be a woman, now we got the first look at the woman. She's chopping wood. Her daughter comes from the house, I guess, to, like, the barn and says, Mom, I'm hungry. And she gets yelled at for going near the barn. Then her mom yells at her and says, you don't come out here by yourself.
Mommy? Lexi! I told you never to come out here by yourself.
I know, but I'm hungry.
Stay away from the barn. There's a lot of dangerous equipment in there. You could hurt yourself. Go back to the house and stay there. I'll be there to fix you something. But I mean it. Stay there.
But her mom's out there. Like, does she, or do they live in that, like, much of a hostile environment that she can't walk from the house to the barn when her mom's at the barn without, like, being scared for her life? Like, that didn't even really make sense. Like, oh, you're not supposed to come out here by yourself. Well, you're out here. I'm not by myself. The little girl seems really confused why she's being yelled at. I mean, it didn't make sense to me, so I'm sure it doesn't make sense to her. Then the mom, like, tells her, go inside, get lost. I'll make you some food in a minute. And then she goes back in the barn with an axe. So things are getting crazy out here.
Excuse me, I have more digging to do. O's child support could explain why Rogers vanished for 5 months.
And why he lived off the grid, hard to find.
And that's what links him to the other victims. They all fathered children. We believe the unsub that we're looking for is a woman who is highly organized, she's thorough, and she's patient.
Based on the complexity and sophistication of the abductions, we think she's most likely between the ages of 30 and 40.
She's familiar with the rural areas surrounding LeGrand.
The hardcore investigative work led them to realize that all the victims right now that are being chained up in this barn are fathers. So that means something. Even Terry, who's R.I.P. Terry, never forget, he was a father as well. They come to the conclusion that because they're all fathers, that this lady must be chaining them up to pick one out for a possible breeding partner.
Specimens. For what?
Possible breeding.
Which is kind of far-fetched, but whatever. Unsub is a word that they use in this show constantly. It's ridiculous. I counted 11 times they use the word unsub just in this show. Now, I do not want you guys to unsub from my YouTube channel. That's not what that means. Please do not unsub. It means unknown suspect or something? Something like that? I don't know. But that's like their word for suspect. But they never actually use the word suspect or the person in question, or the bad guy. It's always unsub, unsub, unsub.
We believe the unsub that we're looking for is a woman.
I don't get it. The unsub's drugging victims and trusting that they'll conk out at the right place at the right time.
If you watch 300 episodes of this show and they use the word unsub at least 10 times an episode, which in this one they use it 11, that means you've heard the word unsub a total of 3,000 times. How crazy is that? That's like the first thing I noticed about this show is this weird word unsub keeps coming up. So other than the fact that she's got dudes chained up in her barn, we see another sign that she's crazy. She looks down and she has like sores on her arm. And so then she goes to the hospital.
We got a frequent flyer.
Which one?
The tomato lady.
The hospital knows her as the tomato lady because she's constantly showing up. I believe at some point in the episode they said she showed up 30 times the last 6 months or something. And she constantly thinks she's sick. They call her the tomato lady, so the rest of this video, I'm calling her the tomato lady as well. She claimed that she had, she talked to the doctor, and the doctor's kind of trying to tell her that you're not really sick, you're imagining it. You used to have scleroderma, I believe is what they called.
Dr. Gores, thank God you're here. Those other doctors don't understand my history.
Yeah, I thought we talked about this last time.
Yeah, we did, but the scleroderma came back. Look.
There's nothing on your arm.
It's right there. You treated me after my husband died. It's the same thing.
Yeah, your scleroderma was treated successfully. What is that going on with you? Did you contact the therapist that I recommended? Guess that's a no.
Doctor calls her delusional right in front of her daughter, which is pretty funny because it's like, I'm sure her daughter already knows that, but it's just funny. She's like all offended and she takes off with her daughter. Tomato lady then starts seeing sores on her face, and obviously she's not right in the mind still. The hospital couldn't do anything for her, but she's still crazy. Then see Tomato Lady stalking a pregnant woman, which this is where the episode takes a turn for the worse. I don't even know how I can get into this. She tied up the pregnant woman in a shed and gave her a C-section 3 weeks early from the due date. And then she dropped the woman and the baby off in the parking lot of the hospital. Tomato Lady looks a little uneasy after eating something that's in a bowl. Then she looks in the mirror and she is clear. She looks good. She doesn't have the sores and scabs on her face anymore. So then they talk about how, wow, well, maybe she cut her open. Maybe our unsub cut open the pregnant lady who ends up being fine. The baby ends up being fine. Because she was trying to have a baby of her own, but first she was trying to breed with the guys. Now maybe she thinks that's not going to work. Maybe she wanted to just take someone's baby, but she didn't do that because she dropped him off in the parking lot. So the question is here, what is she doing? They're thinking that maybe that Tomato Lady thought that the pregnant woman was right on her due date. She cut her open, realized that the baby's still a little premature, and was like, oh, I don't want this baby, and threw her away. And she's looking for a healthier baby.
Our unsub removed the baby, then returned mother and child to a hospital.
Baby wasn't due for 3 more weeks. If the unsub's trying to put together the perfect family, maybe a premature infant isn't good enough.
Let's hope not. That means she'll go out looking for a healthier baby now.
So the daughter goes wandering off alone on, in the comfort of her own house. How dare you? She goes to the barn, comically like fiddles with a lock trying to open it. Like, that's not how anyone's ever opened a lock. I don't care if you're 1 year old, you're gonna do better than that. Mommy? And she almost climbs, almost sees the 3 dudes that are still chained up. Meanwhile, we find out that the woman, the pregnant woman who was given a forced C-section, actually had her placenta scraped clean. The placenta's gone, it's missing. Reed just assumes that Tomato Lady wanted to eat the placenta.
Consuming it in the wild, it's common for animals to eat their own afterbirth. It's super rich in nutrients.
Wait. So the unsub might have harvested this last victim for food?
And, well, next scene, Tomato Lady is sitting down her daughter and making her eat a bowl of what looks like placenta oatmeal. Now, this is the scene that made me realize I needed to make a video on this show. I was like, oh my god, I've never watched Criminal Minds before, but I did not know it was this. It's like, some bad guys robbed a bank and we gotta, use these clues we found to go get them or something. I didn't know that we were going to be talking about placenta oatmeal. I didn't know that I was going to be watching placenta oatmeal with my girlfriend.
No, please, Mommy. I promise I won't go to the party again. I promise.
This is not punishment. I'm trying to keep you healthy.
What's wrong with you?
Do you have any idea what I did to get that for us? It's ruined. Sorry.
I've watched all kinds of disgusting videos on the internet, and this show really did something to me. I was like, what in the hell am I watching? Now, my girlfriend could probably never watch the disgusting videos I've watched on the internet, probably doesn't have any interest in playing the gory video games I play. Yet she was just like, oh, this is just another episode of Criminal Minds. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but my mind was blown watching this. So Tomato Lady starts seeing sores on her daughter's face, and that means she's going to go to some great lengths to try to make her daughter great again, I guess. Tomato Lady is using the victims as fertilizer. Not only is she making people, is she force feeding people placenta oatmeal from what it looks like, she's killing these people and chopping them up into little bits and pieces, and the sawdust helps with the composing bodies to create fertilizer for her tomatoes, for her plant. All the fruits and vegetables that she eats are based off dead people. What in the hell? So she continues to tell her daughter that basically, oh, you're sick, you're not doing good, you got scabs over your face. We see some great CGI sores and scabs, by the way. The quality is not it, Chief. She gives her daughter some sedatives and buries her up to her neck in dirt I don't know why actually she does that. I guess it's because she says the dirt will heal her. I guess it's because the dirt is full of these people that she's killed, these guys that she's killed. the fertilizer for the plant. She thinks that the dead guys in the dirt is going to heal her daughter. Like, who? Think about, okay, I want to know who wrote this episode, how many people it took, how long it took them to do it, and what kind of drugs they were on when they did so, because this is nuts.
I have got something. Emma Kerrigan. She runs a small juice and vegetable stand at the farmer's market, and she works part-time giving out free samples at the health co-op. I'm sending you her picture now.
Sounds like our unsub.
Where does she live?
Piping Rock Farms, west of town, like 100 acres, belonged to her husband's family.
Wait, she has a husband?
Had. Died in a car accident a year and a half ago, leaving her and a 10-year-old daughter.
Let's go.
Emma Kerrigan is your person. So Tomato Lady is now Emma Kerrigan, but she's still Tomato Lady in my heart. Husband died a year and a half ago. They took the ashes to spread them in the garden, I guess, when they cremated him. So that plays into something big here towards the end. The group searches for the farm. Then we get our final scene. This literally happens in every single episode of Criminal Minds I've ever watched. I would say probably 80 to 85% of the episodes of Criminal Minds I've watched has ended with this same scene. It's usually a person, the bad person, with a person in danger, like a hostage, and they have to like either shoot the bad guy. Every once in a while, the bad guy and the person in danger both end up being killed, or they like talk them down, talk them out of their craziness. When they're searching the farm for Emma Kerrigan, aka Tomato Lady, they're going through her house first. They go through pretty much like her like storage shed and stuff, because she's like in the back with her daughter buried in the dirt that's passed out. And so they're able to like go through her house first, and they know of the husband's prior, passing away in the cremation. Blake, there's a small scene where she just kind of stares at a fireplace at some ashes.
Emma, put that knife down.
No. My daughter needs this. Look at her.
Put it down so we can get her the help she needs.
My daughter will be dead by then.
I believe you, Emma. I can see how sick she is.
I talked to your doctor.
Dr. Gorse? You talked to Dr. Gorse?
Yes, he said Lexi is too sick for this to work. This man's blood won't do anything.
But it has to. It's all I have left.
No. What can cure Lexi is what cured you. Funeral homes are required by law to keep a portion of the remains of those that they cremate. These are your husband's ashes. Only these will make your daughter well.
So after she does that, they arrest her, and the day's saved. But what's weird, though, is look how everybody acts when Blake saves the day.
Those are his? It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
Not bad, Blake. Not bad at all.
Took a chance. I mean, I saw our fireplace there.
I was just amazed. I was like, wow, everybody seems like they're actually irritated. Like, Dreamy D over here, Shamar Moore, seems like he's like, oh, good job. Real nice one this time. Pfft, you idiot. You suck. And then Aaron Hotchner is like just looking at her like, I should have fired you 10 years ago. I'm just like, why does everybody seem like they have such an attitude? I mean, the bad guy didn't die, so they can like put her in jail, The daughter's safe. The guy that was starting to get his neck cut didn't get his neck cut. I mean, she had to lie and say she had some ashes, but it was really just from the fireplace. But that's like, why is everybody so irritated about that? I don't know. It's weird. But that's it. That's Criminal Minds. I don't know if you guys like have ever watched Criminal Minds before, but I was not expecting any of what I just talked about. You know, like when I sat down to watch it with my girlfriend, I just thought it was gonna be your run-of-the-mill like crime show. Like, here we go, catch the bad guys. It is none of that. Not even close. It is insane. And I actually suggest maybe watching a couple episodes. Some episodes are hit and miss, but I definitely don't sit around watching in my free time. My girlfriend has it on. I'll watch it, but I'm like pretty much making fun of it the whole time because I can't believe the stuff they come up with in the show. Alright guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you go ahead and give it a like. Leave a comment, subscribe if you're new here to the channel. I know I don't post videos a ton. I post them when I want to. I don't want to feel any, I don't feel forced to post videos. I post videos when I get the itch to do it. It's not something that I'm going to do like every week because, I got to hold up a certain quota. I'm done with that. That part of my YouTube career is over and done with. I don't care. If I make 12 videos a year, 1 a month, I'm good. That's it. So, we'll see. I don't know what my next video is or what it's about. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Love you guys.